Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your man Soul here. I want to welcome everyone back to the channel. Hope everyone out there is staying as safe as they possibly can. And in today's video, it's kind of like a part 2, a sequel to my first Shadowlands update video. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So my last video, I had a prediction on the Shadowlands stream that the pre-patch would be released. And today we just got an announcement that the previous stream, which was announced on June 9th, will now be rescheduled to July 8th, which is approximately 3 weeks from today's recording. And I want to say this. One, my prediction still stands. I still think we're going to get a a pre-patch release date. But I also have some other theories to accompany that prediction. So first and foremost, if you look at the preceding weeks from the first original announcement, the June 9th announcement, up until now, it kind of looks like a rollout to me. And what do I mean by rollout? Well, if you're in the music industry and you're an artist and you have an album dropping, you are doing a rollout for that album. So you're doing interviews, your presence on social media is, greatly increased. You're just out there, you're showing your face more, kicking up the dust, making sure people see you, making sure people are talking about you. So when your album drops, you have created the hype for it. And I think some of the same things kind of apply to Shadowlands in smaller increments. Like, obviously, we're still a ways away from the expansion release date, but there's still things to get people hype about, So I think that's what Blizzard is doing right now. So first and foremost, they announced the update stream, got big hype for it because that was like a breath of fresh air for people who aren't on the alpha, So to get that from the, lead game designer, I think would have been really good. So it created hype. And then that was rollout point number 1, right? The announcement. Rollout point number 2 didn't really have to do with Shadowlands, but it was Blizzard standing in solidarity with the social injustice and silencing themselves. Even though I think that was really pandering, it was a smart marketing ploy, And listen, I can't say if Blizzard was sincere or not. It just kind of looked like pandering to me because it just kind of happened really after the protests were in full swing. Pardon me. But it still, showed Blizzard was paying attention. They weren't, tone deaf. And then they doubled down on it again a couple of days later when they, said they would be supporting Black communities, colleagues, such and such. Again, a little panderish, a little bit less than the first post, because they didn't have to double down. Most big companies will, post their, Black Lives Matter movement. We're all for this Go Black People thing. And then that's it. Blizzard didn't have to double down on it. So, like I said, it's still a little bit more panderish, but hey, they didn't have to do that. So props to them. That was rollout point number 2, standing with the social injustice, being against it, not with it, sorry. That was rollout point number 2. And then, we had the arena tournament, keeping people's interest. Rollout point number 3 was, again, didn't have to do with Shadowlands, but the Classic tournament announcement, the Warsong Gulch thing. Now, I will admit, I'll be the first to admit, I am not part of the Classic community. I've played Classic, I still play Classic. I am not hardwired into it. I did not know that this was a thing that people were interested in. I didn't even watch it. I watched the arena tournament in the MDI closely, but I didn't watch the Warsong Gulch thing. I just didn't have interest in it. But again, I know people who do have interest in it. So once again, that was rollout point number 3, just to keep the interest in World of Warcraft as a whole. Because regardless of how you feel about Classic or how you feel about retail, if you're on the other side of things, you still need a subscription to play one or the other. It's a 2-for-1 deal. But you still need a subscription. So regardless, it's still getting you talking about it. It's still keeping it in your mind. So that's rollout point number 3, I think we're on, yes. Rollout point number 4 really was what's going on, I guess not today, but a couple of days ago when they announced the Shadows Rising, the little prequel novel to the Shadowlands expansion. And ironically, or I should say, coincidentally, the release date of the book is 6 days after the rescheduled stream. Seems a little bit fishy. I mean, yes and no, not really, but it's just funny to look at. So that was rollout point number 4, I'm sorry. 5 is this update, the rescheduled thing, So I think Blizzard is, preparing for something that they're going to announce during the update the stream. And one thing I will pull back on from my first video is I said that I'm about 20% sure that Shadowlands is going to, the release date for Shadowlands is going to be announced. I'm going to pull that all the way back, maybe to like a 1%, maybe even a 0.5, because I really don't think they're going to do that. I don't think, we're in the space right now to have that. I don't think they want to draw that kind of attention or pressure on them at this moment. Even though I'm pretty sure the alpha is in its final phases, like I don't think we can get much out of the alpha anymore. I don't think they're going to announce the Shadowlands release date. So 20% was really high. I'm going to pull that all the way back to like a 1%. If they do, great. If they don't, it doesn't hurt anything, But what I will say is that, speaking on Shadowlands, it's been pretty commonly known that in my guild and amongst my friends group, I said that Blizzard is probably going to release Shadowlands that second week in November when BlizzCon was supposed to be, because as we know, due to COVID, no concerts, no large gatherings are happening for the rest of the year. I thought Blizzard was going to put the expansion in that slot. And while I still think it's a good slot, now that I've thought about it and reflected on it, it may not be such a great slot, because as we know, the holiday season's coming up and we have consoles coming out. The PS5 is coming out. I'm not 100% sure when the Xbox Series is coming out, Series X is coming out. I don't really follow Xbox that much. I'm not really a big fan, but if it is coming out holiday season, I want to say it is. I feel like I read that, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me. But if it is, that's two major releases that Blizzard has to compete with. And yes, those consoles aren't direct competitors. Like, they are competitors because they're both in the video game industry, but they're not direct. Like, an MMO has nothing to do with a console release. People have been pre-ordered Shadowlands, so it's not gonna falter anyone's money in any way. However, if you're a person who just invested $600, or I don't know how much the new console is going to be, that's a really bad guesstimate. Let's say $500 to $600 in a new console. Chances are you're going to spend a lot of time on that console, which means you're going to be time away from other games. So it's just an attention draw, you know what I mean? So with that being said, would you really want to release a game right when all of that is about to get released? Because you're just going to go downhill from there. And you're going to come back up, yes, but it's still unnecessary competition that you're buying into. And like I said, even though, people, including myself, have Shadowlands pre-ordered already, and we're going to play it regardless, it's still something else to grab the attention. Like, I'm going to buy a PS5. I'm going to play it. Will it, impede me playing WoW? Probably not, because, I really like WoW, so it probably won't. But I know for, some fringe fans or casual players, it probably will. Listen, PS5 drops, console drops, that's it, it's game over, you know what I mean? So if Blizzard doesn't have to, I don't think they should release Shadowlands with such stiff competition. If anything, I think they should aim for a late October release date. So if the plan was to release it the second week in November, pull it back to the third or fourth week in October. I don't think that kills it too much. I don't think their momentum swings too badly in the opposite direction with that. So I think that'll be the better move. But hey, listen, Blizzard has been doing this a long time, so they clearly know the climate of the market and all that stuff. So I'm sure they'll figure it out, but that's just my opinion. With that being said, I think that's all I have for the new release date. You guys can definitely tell me what you think about it. If you think, my prediction is 100% all the way wrong, because we haven't gotten a lot on the alpha in terms of in-game stuff, which I don't really think should happen in an alpha because of so little people playing. Because one thing you can say is a lot more people play the beta, than the alpha. So regardless of if you get in or not, you can guarantee yourself that more people have the beta accessible than they do with the alpha. So all that in-game stuff, the soul conduits, Mythic Plus testing, raid testing, it's probably going to come in the beta. Now, those things have came in alpha before, but I think we can get that stuff in beta if Blizzard decided to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure they're going to do the dungeon testing and stuff like that, but, I think you can swing that for beta. And you know what? That brings a good argument up for beta. Maybe we'll get a beta announcement too. Or maybe instead of the pre-patch, who knows? But I'm still aiming for that pre-patch release date. I think still that's coming. I think Blizzard is doing a rollout for that, and I can't wait to see what they have to say on July 8th. So once again, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, hey, give it a thumbs down. Tell me what I can do to improve. I'm never going to shun away constructive criticism. So with that being said, you guys have been great. I've been Soul, and I'm out. Peace.